So apparently, JD Vance fucked up. Welcome back to Perpetual News. Basically, what I've been told is that JD Vance basically admitted that the Haitian migrant thing in Ohio, in Springfield, Ohio, is wrong. Like, the Donald Trump and the debate thing saying they're eating the dogs. Yeah, apparently all that's fake. I mean, obviously.
Vice President Kamala Harris and
Let's see what
former
they have to
President
say.
Donald Trump are focusing on
There's
the
the screen
states
there for
that
you
will
guys.
decide the next president, with the race apparently deadlocked after what could be the only Harris-Trump debate. But
What's her
Donald
name?
Trump is
Dana
also
Bash or
doubling
something?
down on a baseless claim that he made at the debate, that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, are eating people's pets. Local officials and the state's Republican governor say there is absolutely no evidence of that claim, and they are warning it is actually hurting their city. Springfield, Ohio is facing a fourth day of threats over the claims that have forced a college, hospitals, and schools to lock down. Meanwhile, Springfield police say they received 2 calls about Proud Boys marching through the city. Here's how Donald Trump responded to the controversy over Haitians who, I want to note, are in the U.S. legally.
Here's my thing. Okay, before we even fucking start this, before we even begin to think about this absolute just crazy reality that we live in now, right? Before we get to this baseless claim, right? Because that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's just completely just nonsense. Even if a dog was eaten in Springfield, Ohio, that is not the problem with immigration. And it's certainly not, oh my god, it's just an outright, like, racist just lie. It is what it is. I don't care if someone eats a fucking dog, okay? But can we not just blame it on a fucking immigrant? Can we not do that? Who knows that? Who knows that? Who has that information? Yes, there will be the conservatives out there that say, oh, we have a TikTok video, we have body cam image of it. That person was a U.S. citizen, born in the USA, and it wasn't in Springfield, Ohio, before you even begin. Number two, I'm amped up a little bit because this immigration bullshit is just a stupid, it's literally such a stupid fucking thing that Republicans are falling into this trap for, because that's what the Republican voter base does. Let's be real. Unfortunately, immigration currently at a very low point. Also, it would have been at a lower point, except for Donald Trump called all of his senator buddies and his representative buddies and shut down the damn bill, which was, by the way, made by Republicans, made by conservatives who were concerned about the border. I don't agree with the border being as open as it was, but this is a stupid, it's just a stupid fucking thing that it's like pushing people to vote Republican. This is Donald Trump wanting your vote. Okay, that's all this is. This is not like a Democrat-Republican thing. Both sides want the damn border secure. Okay, obviously. It's just, it's obvious. Number 2. We'll get into it. We'll let the video play a little bit more. I'm getting hyped.
I don't know what happened with the bomb threats. I know that it's been taken over by illegal migrants, and that's a terrible thing that happened. Springfield was this beautiful town, and now they're going through hell.
Was it? It's in Ohio.
This is how AI
Oh god, now I have an
optimizes
ad.
my schedule. This meeting got canceled.
Yeah,
Hooray!
hooray! Okay.
Here with me now is Republican Vice Presidential nominee JD Vance, who represents Ohio in the U.S.
Hello,
Senate.
fellow
Thank you for being
humans.
here,
It is
sir.
I, JD
So the mayor
Vance.
of
Let's
Springfield,
talk about
Ohio,
Springfield,
last week
Ohio,
said,
which I have never
all
visited
these federal
before.
politicians that have negatively spun our city, they need to know they're hurting our city, and it was their words that did it. Before Donald Trump talked about eating dogs and cats on a debate stage, it was you, Senator, who first elevated this baseless rumor.
Why is he
These are your
smiling like that?
constituents. So why are you putting
Ugh.
them at risk by
He's like,
continuing to spread claims about Haitian immigrants?
dude, what
despite
the fuck is
officials in
going
your
on?
state saying
He's
there's
having
no
a
evidence
facial
and pleading for
seizure.
you to stop?
Thank you, Dana Bath.
Well, Dana, first of all, what's putting the residents of Springfield at risk, which was a town completely ignored by the American media until Donald Trump and I started surfacing some of these concerns, is that they can't afford housing, they can't afford health care. The schools have been overwhelmed, the hospitals have been overwhelmed, and they're overwhelmed because Kamala Harris allowed 20,000 Haitian migrants.
Kamala Harris did it. She brought him up there, guys. She fucking got him on a bus and was like, let's go. Straight to Springfield, Ohio, where everybody wants to be, by the way.
My constituents have brought approximately a dozen separate concerns to me. 10 of them are verifiable and confirmable, and a couple of them I talk about because my constituents are telling me firsthand that they're seeing these things. So I have two options, Dana. I could
You haven't been to your state
what
in
the
like
American
fucking
media has done
a long
for
time. You've been
years
on the
to this
campaign trail.
community, or I can actually talk about what people are
Sorry
telling
about
me.
that.
And of course, many of the things that the media says are completely baseless have since been confirmed. For example, I was told, Dana, that by the American media, that it was baseless that migrants were capturing the geese from the local park pond and eating them. And yet there are 911 calls from well before this ever became a viral sensation of people complaining about that exact thing happening. So my attitude is listen to my constituents. Sometimes they're going to say things that people don't like, but they're saying things that people don't like because their town has been overwhelmed, and it's my job to try to fight for them and to protect them. Kamala Harris opened the border, and now these people are suffering. That's what I'm focused on, Dana.
Hold on.
Senator
No. Kamala Harris didn't open the border. She didn't walk down to the southern border and was like, come on, bitches, let's get this up. And she just flung it into the air. That's not how it works. She doesn't have any control. She was a senator for, I believe, 4 years, number one. Number two, she was vice president, which doesn't have a lot of power. And that whole fucking border czar position, that's fake. It doesn't exist. She was tasked with investigating why South America, why they were having so many immigrants come up to our border. That is what she was tasked with. She was investigating. She was told to investigate. She has no authority over the southern border. VPs have very limited powers. Honestly, their power is basically word of mouth. And if you know anything about President Biden, he doesn't use all of the powers that he could. Because right now, he is unchecked by the Constitution based on the Supreme Court decision, which allows him to do basically anything that he wants and not be prosecuted for it. So if he really wanted to, he could open up the whole fucking thing and allow 100 million people into America, and that would be an entirely different situation. So if you think Biden and Harris, which they're blaming because of the election, she has no control. This is a Biden issue. If you want to blame someone, blame him. Number three. These people are using immigration because it's their last thing that they can dangle onto. Because the election is swinging heavily in the favor of Kamala Harris. This is complete bullshit, just so you know. Anyway.
I have to go through several things that you just said. First of all, the Clark County Sheriff and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources reviewed 11 months of 911 calls. They only identified 2 instances of people alleging Haitians were taking geese out of parks. They found 0 evidence to substantiate those claims. Also, other evidence that you have talked about, even you've retweeted, alleged evidence, are unsourced social media videos from a different city, apparently no connection to Haitians.
This is
And
what
this
I was
from
saying at the
conservative
beginning.
Activists who offered a $5,000 reward for such things. And then going just backly to the schools and the hospitals and so forth being overwhelmed, nobody is disputing that the town of Springfield, Ohio needs help. But you're not just a bystander, you're the senator from Ohio. So instead of saying things that are wrong and actually causing the hospitals and schools
Let her cook.
to be evacuated because of bomb threats because of the cats and dogs thing, why not actually be constructive in helping to better integrate?
The governor of Ohio was, I believe, voted in by a margin of 30 points. Ohio is a conservative state. If they really wanted to just ban immigrants from Springfield, they could. If they wanted to actually help out their citizens, they could. If they wanted to, quote unquote, get rid of these people, they have the ability to do so. They control the full government. The full government of Ohio is a Republican-controlled. It's a Republican-controlled state. It's it's not a swing state anymore, fellas. That was 2008. Okay, that's when Ohio was a swing state. It's gone. It's Republican. It's JD Vance got voted in by a huge margin as well. Not as big as the governor, I'll buy it, but this is ridiculous. If you're going to blame someone, blame the government that's actually in charge of your states. They talk all day, all long about, every state should have its rights to do what it wants. And you got them. Okay, use them. If you don't like something, fucking change it. You're the person in charge of that state. You're the person that represents that state in the Senate. Do something.
Them into the community, because there are a lot of employers there who say that the Haitian workers are helping fill jobs that they need desperately filled.
Immigration increases GDP.
Dana,
not that I'm
let me
arguing that we should just
respond
let
to
a bunch of
couple
people
things
in,
he said,
but
I want to start with something he said, which I think is frankly disgusting and is more appropriate for a Democratic propagandist than it is for an American journalist. There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator, this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it. What we have said is that this town has suffered terribly under the policies of Kamala Harris. Now, you just accused me of inciting violence against the community when all that I've done is surface the complaints of my constituents, people who are suffering because of Kamala Harris's policies. Are we not allowed to talk about these problems because some psychopaths are threatening violence? We can condemn the violence on the one hand, but also talk about the terrible consequences of Kamala Harris's open border on the other hand. Now, let me just fact check a couple of other things that you said, Dana, because it's important. You said that all of these migrants are in the country legally. They are in the country through what's called temporary protective status.
Right.
That is when Kamala Harris waves
it's
a
gone
magic amnesty
now,
wand,
I believe.
taking people and
That's
giving them
gone.
legal status.
That doesn't
That
exist
is not
anymore.
that
So
is not
he's arguing against nothing. He's arguing against clouds right now. He's arguing against a
of her
fucking cloud.
amnesty
He's
policies
magic.
that have further opened the
But
border
they're not.
and further
But it's
caused
not illegal. You
terrible
might.
migration
You
into
might
this
be.
country.
You might not agree with the policy, and obviously you don't, which is totally fair and legitimate. There are policy disagreements all the time, but the fact is, it is the law because
No,
President
Dana,
Biden
the point
and
is,
Vice
Dana,
President Harris are. But I don't want to get. I don't want to, frankly, go down this conversation about policy
Dana,
because
you made a point. You don't. I agree. You don't want to talk about policy.
No,
Dana,
what
which
I
is
want to
why
talk
you're
about.
talking
What
other
I want to talk
distractions
about.
instead of about the fact
Senator,
that
it was
Harris
your
and Dana
distraction.
Granted amnesty
You were the
at a
one who
mass
started
level.
talking about
Granted
eating
amnesty
dogs
at a
and
mass
cats.
level.
You were the one who
Dana,
brought this
my
up. The
constituents
president
were the
said it
ones
to
who talked about
60
eating
million
dog and
people.
cats, and I
God,
talked
she-
about it because you were ignoring this community.
I'm not gonna say anything. She looks like a
Have you been to
robot.
Springfield?
Responsibility to surface their concerns when the American media.
Have you been to
ignores it.
Springfield?
Dana, I've been to Springfield probably 100 times in my life.
How about
I've taken my
recently,
children
since
to
you've
get
heard
ice
this?
cream at Young's Jersey Dairy.
Have you heard recently since
Have I
you've
been
gotten
in the
these
last?
calls?
Have I been in the last 4 days?
No,
No,
I'm
I
talking
haven't been
about
in the last 4 days, but I've
since
talked
you've
to a lot
gotten
of
these
people
calls
in
from the
Springfield, Dana,
constituents.
and they're telling me this stuff is happening. Dana, would you like to ask me questions and then let me answer them, or would you like to debate me on these topics? I noticed that when you had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, you gave them multiple choice answers to the questions that you asked, and you allowed them to answer the questions. I'm happy to be here to talk about policy, but if you're going to interrupt me every single
Watch the
time
interview.
that I
She
open
wasn't
my
so
mouth,
light with
then
them.
why am I even
Anyway.
doing this? So please ask a question, and I'd ask
Also,
you to be polite
here's
enough-
something that I've noticed. CNN was always accused of being like the liberal media. they've been really hard against Democratic politicians for a while now. Like, the last 2 years, they've ramped up on that shit. And I'm not saying that they're light on Republicans. They're just, I feel like, going for everybody's throats. I don't know. Just an observation. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yes, I am, and I think that if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were making unsubstantiated claims that had racist undertones about people eating dogs and cats, I would, and they didn't answer the questions about that, then I would have similar interactions with them. As you know, I am very grateful that you come on the show, as I am for other Republicans. But this is something that you're hearing from constituents. I did a lot of reporting. I talked to people in Ohio over the weekend, and they're really worried about these claims. The policies, yes, I am agreeing with you that what I heard is that there is concern that these migrants, there's a lot of them, and the integration isn't being done fast enough.
All right. Well, anyway, she'll continue her spiel, but the point is, JD Vance is basically a fucking Nimrod. Yeah. Dude, this shit is getting out of hand. Like, they just can't keep getting, like, I'm actually Jesse Pinkman right now. They can't keep getting away with it. Like, how the fuck have they done this? Where they've steered the media to talk about this fucking cat and dog story. Literally. Anyway, alright. Thanks for watching. Perpetual News out. Like and subscribe. Share for more. Thank you. Farewell.